Good morning, everyone. It's Kimberly, and welcome back to the Messages from the Master series. Thanks, you guys, to those of you who are liking this series and watching it, and I really appreciate that. Thanks to the new subscribers. For those of you who don't know, every Sunday morning I sit down at the crack of dawn as soon as I wake up with a raspy voice when the messages are the most clear for me. And I just see what comes. And I bring in Mother Mary, the archangels. I call on the Ascended Masters and whoever wants to come forth, steps forth to send us messages via automatic writing. And I use cards and channeling. So we'll start with that in a moment. I wanted to tell you that I'm going to be holding free twin flame support group calls this summer. It's kind of like honoring my roots because that's how I started, was just holding, before I had like a practice and a coaching practice, I just started holding free support group calls. So once a month, starting in June. I think the first day is June 26th. I think it's like the third or fourth week each month, but June 26th will be our first call, and then we'll have one in July and we'll have one in August. These are super fun, you guys. I held them at the beginning. We don't know who's going to be on the line. It's always like the right group of people. You can come on, share stories, get support. I'll be on the line giving intuitive guidance. I haven't held these in a while, so hopefully you guys can join. If you want to be on my list for that information, then just go to my website, scroll to the bottom and enter your email, and then you'll get the emails when we get closer to the date that will remind you about when those calls are, and we'll give you call-in information, okay? So my website is spiritualmaterialgirl.com, and just scroll to the bottom and enter your email, okay? While you're there, don't forget to order your audio meditation pack. Some people have had questions about that. They're like, what does cord cutting have to do with 5D meditation? It really doesn't, but those are the two tools. I mean, it could relate, but those are the two tools that I get asked the most for. So with the cord cutting, all you're doing is cutting away the negative energy. Anyone that you want to clear energy with. It could be your twin, could be your mom, could be someone that you're struggling with at work. It could be a past lover, past relationship, anyone that you want to clear energy with. And what it does is it clears all the negative energy, but it leaves the purity of the connection intact. The 5D connection tool is totally separate. It's just one of my most requested things. I finally put it together for all of you. I hope you guys who have bought it are enjoying it. I've been hearing some positive feedback. This is a tool where you go into a deep 5D meditation with your twin, and I guide you intuitively. So it's kind of like one of those things that I made from my own intuition and heart. And I felt like it's what's not out there in terms of 5D connection tools. So a lot of you struggle. How do I do that? Where do I begin? And this will give you a start with that. So you can purchase those $11.11 on the website as well. And of course, booking services with me. I know Monday is totally filled because of the special I held last week, but there are appointments open during the week if you guys want to book a session, have a reading, twin flame guidance session, coaching. All right, so let's get to these messages. I will tell you, I am so usually I wake up really refreshed. I am so groggy right now, but it's probably good because that means there's not going to be any filter here. Mother Mary's here with us. They're saying Archangel Raguel is here with us. I take several minutes before I turn on the camera to call in. It takes a while to get into the state to call in the higher beings. So Archangel Raguel, Mother Mary, and who else? They are bringing forth again Saint Germain for us. And again, this is about transmuting. And we'll see who else comes through. They're saying there is Christ energy present, or Jesus energy around us. Okay, so we're going to get some powerful messages this morning. I can already tell you that. There's a lot of powerful energy in the room. I'm going to light the sage again. I just feel like I need to do that. So just a moment. Sorry, you guys, these calls are also these videos are very improvisational. So I improvise as I go, whatever I feel pulled to help the reading. Okay, so we've got the sage going. I just want to clear the space a little bit more so whoever else wants to come in can come in for us. I feel like we're going to be in a room full of people is what they're saying. A room full of souls, which is different. Normally we've only had like one or two. They all want to gather in today for some reason. So let's just see through the automatic writing what comes. Okay, so they're talking about crystallization, but they kind of showed me this picture, or they drew it like this is supposed to be like a rock or crystal that's emitting light, is what I got. And I knew the crystals were going to be in this. I knew the crystals were going to be in this reading because I brought out the tarot deck they had showed me, and the archangels, the angel therapy, and the ascended masters deck. And I saw the crystals deck and I was like, no, we don't need that. And then I sat down and they were like, go get the crystals deck. So I got it. So it's interesting because this past, I'd say over the past 2 weeks, especially the past week, I've had several messages about sending people to the desert. Various people to various places. Some people it's Utah, some it's Arizona, some it's, more like California or out west. There is a vibrational, I feel like a vibrational, they're saying almost like epicenter there. And there's something going on right now where the vibration is even higher in the desert. So if you live out in the desert, I'm wondering, or like if you live in Arizona or like Utah or New Mexico, like anywhere like that, and you watch these videos, can you let me know if you're feeling like an increased, it might be hard if you like live there and acclimate to it, especially, but if you're raising your energy, you're going to also feel like a bump up. They're saying like it's almost like a bump up when you're out there because there's so much going on. There's also a lot of cosmic energy filtering into the desert right now. So it's almost like the higher entities, like alien, sort of entities are they're actually infusing the earth with that energy, it feels like, and they're sending it into the desert because of the rock, because the rock will absorb the vibration and then radiate it out. So if you've had like a inclination to go be near a red rock or desert, do it. It would be really, really good to do this between like June and October, they're saying. Now, that's interesting because I know it's really, really hot in the desert at that time. So if you go, be mindful of that. But that's when they're saying we're getting they're saying it's a major sprinkle, okay, of light. I think it's more than a sprinkle. I'm going to put that in quotes. And it's not that you have to go to the desert to feel it, because it will radiate out to Earth. And I think particularly it's being infused into our country so that we can up level here. Especially they're saying before like the presidential race gets underway, like they're trying to up level some of those who have been more stagnant or more resistant, and that's part of the reason why as well. And of course, like every week, I forgot to bring an eraser over. Can you guys hold on just 1 minute? I'll be right back. I'm sorry. So this, I think it's like I forget what, honey quartz. This was in my window, and they said to bring it over because it's almost like feels like this sparkly energy going into the rocks, the natural colored rocks. You know, that's what they're really showing me, like the red rock and the brown rock and the everything that's out west is going to receive this infusion. It's almost like an infusion. And this is also like, it feels connected to the eclipses this July. There could definitely be like a gravitational pull to the desert because I feel like there's actually a physical portal there. There's going to be a physical portal. Let's see what else they have to tell us. Okay, so they're talking about a view. Maybe it's like a specific group of you, or maybe it's just a few of you. But there's like someone or some people that I'm picking up on right now that are like where they're showing me you're looking out the window or you're looking out at the view, and you're feeling you're missing it. Like you're going that way. Like you're missing it. You're going above it, you're going that way. You're looking out for something. You're looking out for answers. So if there's someone who's watching this, or like a group of you who've been looking out the window, kind of looking for answers, they're saying, look to the sun. You need to connect with the sun. The sun is... They're saying the sun is getting brighter. This means that, you know, all the solar flares and all that stuff that we have been feeling that's made us maybe shaky or unsteady, but it's also caused like these big energy shifts. sun is not black. But this could be the reason why they had me color that in. This could be the eclipse. They're saying the sun will tell you where to go. I know it sounds cliche, but they're saying to follow the sun and how it makes you feel. The sun is a star, is what they're reminding us. So I think sometimes we look out and we're lost. Remember that the sun is a star, and it's a star that has a lot of fire energy. So if you're wanting to make things happen, wish upon that star. Look out to that star, okay? These messages are really interesting for me too, because I never know what's going to come out, and this is definitely a different way of looking at this. And they want us to start honoring the sun like we honor the moon. Okay? Although there aren't sun phases, the sun is constantly changing, and we feel it. And if it's impacting us all the time, they're saying we need to start honoring the sun. Who is the sun god? You guys know from, was it like Ra? Was that the sun god in Egypt? They're showing me that. I don't know offhand. I'm sure one of you will know, or you guys can look it up. Okay, let's see what else, and then we'll move over to the cards when this feels complete. Okay, so they're saying go up high and look out. And like that was the word that came, the lookout. It's interesting because I was on the top of the mountain that I hiked yesterday, and I went to this lookout spot, and it was so incredibly beautiful. And like you literally feel like there's not a care in the world when you're up that high, and it's just so magnificent, and there were just bright blue skies. And I feel like they're trying to tell us to like they did show me that viewing thing that you can look through, and it's got like the little viewing, like you look through it when you're up on the Empire State Building, or it's almost like these little binoculars that you look through. You pay 25 cents to look through it. Okay. Like they're saying, like, get your telescopes, get your binoculars out, like look out, but you don't need to hone in. You just need to look out. You don't need to like zoom in. So just looking out is going to help you, because I feel like what they're trying to tell us, like we're getting mired in the everyday stuff. We're getting mired in like the 3D, and we're missing like the bigger picture. So a lot of this like also fits with the whole, going to the desert and the red rock. I feel like some of you are going to be going up on like little mountain climbs or hikes in the desert, or anywhere, and just looking out, seeing the bigger picture. When I'm looking out from the mountain, I don't see that tree that's fallen over. I don't see that that house that's damaged. I don't see that bird that died. I don't see those little details, right? It's just one big beautiful landscape. And I've been talking about I've been talking about us creating a new landscape, has been the word for months, come July. And I think in order to anchor it in, we gotta see what what landscape appeals to us. We got to see the beauty in the bigger picture so we can anchor that in. Because if we get mired in the small details, we're not going to be able to pull in that bigger picture and have it crystallize one by one. And that's a lot of the reason why they use that word crystallize, and they're talking about crystals, because we are crystallizing that landscape right now. Okay. Let's go over to the cards and see what messages specifically come through for those on the ascension path, those that are awakening, and for twin flames as well. They were talking about using the tarot deck to kind of set up this reading, so I'm going to do that. Although I usually don't use tarot in these readings, so normally just like oracle. Let's pull like a 5-card spread for these energies that the masters are sending through to us. Whoops. Okay. Okay, we've been seeing the Hierophant a lot lately. That's a 5-card transformation. King of Pentacles. The Death card. Whoops, we're going to lose the cards. The 7 of Wands. They're telling me to place one on top and just not turn it over. So, okay. Bottom of the deck is the Devil. So I feel like we're still, a lot of you are still trying to reconcile something from the past. I do feel like that something ended, where either recently or in maybe the past, maybe 10 months for some of you, like there was an ending. And in a relationship, I feel like it was the end of a toxic cycle. It was something that there was some level of codependency, there was some level of toxicity, and they're saying there's 2 groups. I feel like I need to write it to show you, like diagram it. So these are twin flames. It could be like your soulmates. This could be like soulmate karmic too. All right. It could be anyone that was helping you progress along your journey. So there's 2 groups. And what were they just showing me? Okay, so they're saying split it in half, and okay, so they're saying there's one group that's in a timeout, and there's one that it was permanent. Like break. And some of you who like really need to get the lesson from this breakup are looking at it like it's going to come back, or it's a timeout. And in doing that, you're not getting the lesson, they're saying. Not fully. Like you kind of learn the lesson through whatever karma was. They're saying whatever karma was expelled. So I do feel like there was like, there were toxicities, there was yelling, but you're not fully getting the lesson until you totally let it go. You have to completely let it go. And even if you're in a timeout, I feel you have to completely let it go. Those of you that are in a timeout, you know, because right now you're having like some sort of a reunion with the person in a higher level. And you know that you're in a timeout. You know that now you do, or you're finding that out right now. You're having a higher awareness that this has been a pause for healing so that things can balance, and so that both people can detach from outcomes and release the old timelines to create new ones. Those of you who needed to get the lesson, once you get the lesson completely, that means that you've reached a certain point of surrender with it. I feel like letting the fear go, licking your wounds, understanding what the pattern or cycle was for you. Then this group has a new partner coming in. And for many of you, if you can get the lesson and really like self-reflect and really look at your patterns from within, this new partner could be coming in really soon. Okay? They're saying like July, August. I also feel like those who are in kind of like a time out, this time frame it might be like August, September for like twin flames who are like reuniting or having like their true unions. Because it's going to take, I feel like it's going to take the DM, the Divine Masculine, a little bit longer. He's making some changes in the physical, or that energy that represents the Divine Masculine is making a lot of changes in the physical right now. It's going to take him a little while to let the emotional awareness and the consciousness catch up. And it's starting to, but it's gonna keep happening over the summer, which is what I've been saying all along. It's going to be almost an unfolding. It's not, like you've probably had no contact with this person whatsoever. And it's really for the best. That's why things are healing. So sometimes we think like no contact is going to be the end of the world, but it's not. It's just the end of a phase of a relationship, or it's what's needed to release all the negative lines of energy, negative attachments, and fear. I feel like this was where we were really struggling with the relationship, and where we sort of just surrendered it to a higher power. And whether you wanted to do that or not, some of you were resistant to let it go. Like the relationship, you're resistant to just give it that pause, giving that breathing room, or to make the break. Because some of you, it was a break. There was a karmic cycle, something learned. And so they're asking me to flip this card. So yeah, this is where we're not seeing the lesson, or where we are still holding on to the past. I feel like the past hurts, and in order for the new outcome to show up, whether it's the same person returning for some of you, or it's a new partner coming in. This also feels like, just being guarded, having our heart armor on. Not trusting ourselves is a big one. It's not just that like our trust has been broken, but like this message was coming through in readings this week, private readings, like that you're not trusting yourself. And that has to be restored first. That trust in yourself, trusting your intuition, trusting that you're seeing clearly. And how do we do that? We must take off the blinders. We must understand if we had been seeing things through our wound before, or playing things out through our wounding. Your wounding, if it's in there even subconsciously, it's going to dictate everything. It's going to dictate your decisions. It's going to dictate your reactions. It's going to dictate it all. This is why so many people come to soul coaching with me, to clear it out, to really get to the bottom of it. And it really works because it frees you of those patterns. And it really enables you to connect with yourself again, and connect with like that truth and the trust within you, with your power, so that you can move forth in any situation, whether it's a returned loved one or a new person, without all that jadedness. I feel like this is, feeling jaded. For some people, it's like kind of like that, where hope feels very distant. I was kind of channeling that in the May forecast, if you guys read it, or the full moon forecast. It's like some people feel like really jaded, like what's next? And because they're clinging to like how it went in the past, or they're saying, take the blinders off, open up. There's a whole new landscape forming for you. There's a whole new landscape crystallizing, and you get to choose all the good things that you put in it, all the good things that you want to come to fulfillment. But first we must really see. This King of Pentacles is that sort of establishment where things have been, they're saying, murky. I feel like a lot of this came from Tower moments, like the devil, the death, the resisting, the parting of ways. Some of you resisted it for a while, they're saying. Like you were trying to make it work, and there was a lesson that needed to be learned. There was healing that needed to take place, and balancing. I feel guided to just pull a few more cards from the tarot deck. So let's get some further clarification on this. And then we'll pull in the Archangels, Ascended Masters cards. Okay, so we got the Six of Pentacles, and this is where you were breaking codependent cycles, see? And like this is where you're coming into your own. I feel for some of you it was the feminine. For some of you in your relationships, it was the masculine who was more codependent. And they're showing me like much more in a physical sense. And this codependency needed to be severed, or needs to be severed, so that we can find balance on our own. Okay. It's almost like, and here we see someone who's receiving help, and it's sometimes this card is like a message to receive the help, and open your hands, open your heart, like don't be too proud. But I feel like this is coming in reverse, and it's just saying like, this is someone who's feeding us and has control over us. It's like that level of control or attachment that's preventing us from being completely self-reliant, whether that's emotionally or physically in the financial sense. Some of you are working on that right now. I think a whole group of you. See, this is like, and now as you're working on it, you've got your own, you're afraid. You're like, oh God, I don't know. All of your lack thinking, all of your stuff from your childhood, your programming, the scarcity thinking, the fear around money, the holding on to it too tight. That's what's happening as you get on your own. So this is another level of clearing that you're needing to do, I feel, where you're really understanding and uncovering those limiting beliefs so that you can understand that money is just an exchange. It's just an exchange of energy. And we don't need to cling to it, hold on tight, or hoard it to be okay and to feel safe. A lot of that's programming from our family, from our parents. So look at that, write that down. Like, what was that programming? What were those beliefs that you heard in your family? And there we go. So I feel like those beliefs were, money doesn't grow on trees. And maybe for some of you, there was a fear of literally being homeless, not having enough to eat, not having enough, being cast away, not being part of society, being homeless, being destitute. And I think this is also representative. They're showing me emotions and finances. So this could also be an emotional codependency. This could also be like clinging too tight emotionally, and that feeling of, abandonment, emotionally being left out in the cold. But for many of you, it's very physical about money, with like a metaphor of emotional crapola too. Let's see. And then we have the Four of Cups in reverse. And I feel like this is some, it's some like indifference, indecision. It's lack of excitement to move forward. It's this energy that I was talking about where there's hope. The hope is lost because we're too tainted by what's happened in the past, and we need to let that stuff go. Because once you get excited again and you feel like anything is possible and I can create anything and abundance is coming and there's no fear of being left out in the cold. I'm not going to bring this fear into future relationships. I'm going to create my own destiny. And once you clear all those blocks, like this is going to become the Nine of Cups. Okay? They're saying pull back at this time. Some of you need to pull back to reconcile some of this. There is stuff from the past coming up, especially during the Scorpio full moon. Especially around limiting beliefs, where we didn't maybe learn the lesson, where we're looking to get the lesson, where we've had our blinders on, releasing codependency, and really getting ready to crystallize something new and a whole new landscape, not just one thing that's new, but like a whole new landscape, a whole new life. I know you guys have been working on this new life for a while, but I really do feel like, and have felt since the beginning of the year, that everything that you've already done has been setting up this massive crystallization during this summer and into the September, October months. And it's going to be literally a whole new world. It's funny because that Aladdin movie is coming out. Isn't that the song, A Whole New World? Is it from that movie or from that story? Yeah. Okay, so they're saying find the blessings in the... I think what they're saying is find the blessings, feel grateful, but also find the lessons. They want you to, if you're reflecting in the past, playing things out on like replay, dwelling, still not sure why things happened. They really want you to see it from a bigger perspective and feel grateful that there was the separation. Feel grateful that there was the breakup. See what the lesson was for you. I would write it down. What did you learn from that relationship that you keep turning back to in your mind, that's maybe holding you down or holding you back? What have you been learning? What did you learn? Write that down. Okay, so they're saying when you write it down, see the other person's point of view. So that to me is like a sign for what what was your role in it? How might the other person have perceived you? And looking at it that way is going to help balance the energy. Okay, because a lot of times we look back and we look at it like we look at the wrong or how the other person did us wrong, and we don't see that. We might see the lesson that we're learning, but we don't see like our role in it as well. So how do you think the other person's viewing it? The other reason why this is coming up is because the other person is wondering how you're viewing it. So I feel like there are some, especially those who are like in separations that are going to come back together, who are wondering, they're wondering what you're thinking. They're wondering sort of what you're going through right now and what you've been through or what it's taught you or how you've grown. Bottom of the deck is purification. This is just talking about like purifying all that past energy, the baggage, the limiting beliefs. I feel like a lot of you are going to be doing this pretty soon, and it'll be a huge purification, a huge healing for you. It's going to get things flowing again. And you can use water to do this, soaking yourself in a pool, a tub, showering, drinking lots of water, just washing it away as you release all of this. This is a great time to release all of this stuff from the past. The hurts, the being left out, the patterns. They're saying the only thing that you need to walk away with is just knowing that everything was in divine order, like everything played out exactly as it should in this relationship. And it still is, and everything's in divine order. And so, and all you need to walk away with is just the knowing of what you needed to learn from that. And for some of you, it might be like a real karmic lesson. For others of you, it might be learning how to let go, how to detach, how to release the need for control. Excuse me, how to release the codependency, become fully self-reliant. That's being gifted to you by the other person. Okay, so we have the law of attraction, which they're reminding us, like this is how we manifest. This is why this is in reverse, because we're having difficulty remembering that anything is possible and that we attract in from our vibration. So when all of this is in there subconsciously, we're not maybe feeling grateful for the lessons, but we're dwelling on it, we're thinking about it, we're having trouble releasing, and we're having trouble getting on our own 2 feet and getting excited. What does it take to pull in our desires? It takes clarity of what we want. It doesn't have to be specific, but right? It takes a hopefulness, an excitement, a high vibration. It takes the absence of resistance, the not clinging on too tight, the not strangling the energy. It takes an absence of fear, which is resistance. So it's saying relationships and activities that you once enjoyed are now changing as you become more sensitive and aware of energies. And that is true. That is changing. And that means you're going to be pulling in new people, new soul tribe. I feel a lot of you over the next few months going on trips, taking classes that you never would have. I highly encourage you. Every time I work with someone new, I encourage you. I try to encourage you specifically. Like I try to tell you where to go and what to do. Like I try to see it intuitively. But at any rate, I always encourage you to take classes and go and expand. And this is how you meet your soul tribe. This is how you learn. This is how you grow. This is how you really push forward. So things are changing, and the landscape is changing, and they're saying at some level you're needing to allow for it. Some of you, because you're clinging to the past, you're not fully allowing it. You're not letting it all the way in. Let it in. Let it in. Let it come in for you. Look at where you're holding resistance. And we have integrity. So, in reverse. So this is about aligning your intentions with your actions, or your actions with your intentions. This is also about knowing like your morals, your values. This is about whether you have a renewal in a relationship or you're entering in with a new partner. This is about entering in, knowing your morals, your values, your own worth, being aligned with it. And when you do that, when you have a sense of integrity and you're acting upon that integrity, you will always feel safe, because nobody can rip it from you. Where we don't feel safe, where we have been wronged, is when we didn't have that alignment, where we didn't have the proper boundaries, because we didn't know what our morals or values were, because we didn't know what our worth was, or because we were seeing and making decisions, we're seeing everything and making decisions through the lens of our fear and our wounding, which had us separated from that integrity and that worth. So this is a great time to get back to the basics with that. We do this in my Vibe Up course called Wear Your Crown. If you guys want to join Vibe Up and take those courses, this is a great thing to work on at this time. I'm going to just look at the bottom of the deck here, and they're saying parents. So I was getting that a lot too, like the parents instilled the limiting beliefs in us. And this is about releasing the fear that maybe they instilled in us, I feel. Not just healing the wounds, but releasing the fear-based programming, especially, and anywhere where we separated from ourselves, which is usually through the wounding, that needs to be healed at this time. Okay, let's just pull one card from the Archangel deck, and then we'll look at the bottom of the deck. So peace. So Archangel Chamuel says peace comes from remembering that only love is real. So they're saying it's okay to love, like it's okay to feel love, for another person, even despite anything that's gone down or has happened. But, the peace comes from loving yourself first. That's how you're able to be unconditional, hold space for another. And I feel like, the dove, excuse me, symbolizes a getting back to purity, like being able to see through the fool's eyes, being able to trusting yourself, purifying your energy field. Like I said, there's a lot of tainted energy. There's a lot of feeling like this wasn't supposed to be this way, clinging to the past, jaded. And as you purify that, like love will just come through, and you'll be able to be in a state of love, hold space, and not need to control it, not need to hang on to the past, not need to know what's coming in the future, and just manifest like you're meant to. The bottom of this deck is Archangel Haniel. Notice how the moon affects your energy and manifestations, and capitalize upon these cycles, moon cycles. So I feel like the reason why this is coming up is because this full moon, all this stuff that we're releasing, it's setting us up for a huge, enormous, tremendous new moon in Gemini. There is something so big about this new moon, I cannot even explain to you guys. It is huge. Like, they want you to clear everything you need to clear and get your intentions crystal clear by this new moon. Because it's the intentions that you set then that are going to set the stage for the entire summer, which is where we have this massive opportunity to pull in rapid manifestation, crystallize this whole new world. Other readers might tell you different because they're looking at specific planetary aspects. I'm going to tell you, I just feel the energy of it. I've been feeling it for a while, and I can just tell you it's a huge new moon. Huge. I feel it to be no matter what you want to manifest, if it's new love, if it's the returning of the love, if it's the abundance, if it's the trip, you're going to have the ability, whatever you think at the time of the new moon, it's going to come in for you. And that's, I think it's June 3rd. Work with that energy. Get crystal clear. Get the fear out of the way. Because if you're still dwelling on your fears, you're going to hold yourself back. You're going to manifest your fears very quickly. Let's look at the crystals cards for advice. Just going to give these a little shuffle. There's hair. Okay, so we've got this creative energy coming in, and our life purpose is going to be defined. So I think the selenite's coming up at the bottom to help us clear and purify. Like they're telling us to use the selenite to purify and to help you up level and elevate in your spiritual awakening. So get selenite, use selenite sticks. This is great for empaths who want to clear their energy and up level. But this is very, very, very poignant because the fire agate is about creativity, and I've been feeling this a lot for the divine feminine. Divine feminine is like literally your projects, your mission, your physical, you're working on a business, a venture, a creative project, something like that like keep doing it. It's gonna light up, especially I feel like by the end of August, when we're actually in the fire Leo energy. There's going to be some fruition of something that you're working on. For the masculine, I feel like it's more just like creating like your world, knowing what you want to create. You could be showing yourself in a more creative light in some aspects, like maybe at work. So... and Amazonite is the life purpose. So some of you, I think, struggle because you want to find this. You want it to just become clear. And the best way I can tell you to navigate this is get some Amazonite, keep it near you, and take baby steps towards everything that feels good to you. Follow the impulses, and your life purpose will be revealed. Okay? That's how it works. It's a step-by-step illumination. It's not some big, you just sit there. I mean, you might have some big epiphany, but it's still the baby steps that illuminates the how and makes it all show up for us. Okay, so I'm going to leave you guys with that. I hope it was helpful. I love you, and I'll see you next week. I'm probably not going to do one of these next weekend, and just because it's a holiday weekend, and I'm going to try to take a day or two off myself, which is rare. So I'll see you guys in June, and we'll continue this series. Don't forget to sign up on my email list if you want the alerts for the free conference calls. I love you guys. See you soon. Okay, bye.